And welcome to Diabetes Connections in the News. I'm Stacy Sims, and these are the top diabetes stories and headlines of the past 7 days. As always, we are live on social media first, and then all sources will be linked up at diabetes-connections.com when this airs as a podcast. In the News is brought to you by T1D Exchange. T1D Exchange is a nonprofit organization dedicated to improving outcomes for the entire T1D population. Our top story, a bit of a surprise for Vertex. The FDA puts a clinical hold on their newest trial. This is the company that made big headlines last fall. That New York Times article likely sent to you by everybody you know about a stem cell cure for type 1. Well, that is when Vertex reported data on the cell therapy from a single patient who achieved a robust restoration of islet cell function after receiving a drug called VX-880. That response is going strong, they say, at day 270. This week, Vertex showcased results from another patient and said a third patient has received the full dose. A company spokesman says they're surprised by the clinical hold, given the evidence so far, and there have been no serious adverse events. They say, though, they will work with the FDA to get the trial moving again as soon as possible. Insulet announced that Omnipod 5 has completed the limited market release and will be rolling out to a wider audience soon. Those who signed up for what they call the interest list will be notified first. We are told, watch your email this week. If you haven't signed up, sit tight. Omnipod 5 still is not yet available through all insurers. It's not at every pharmacy, but the rollout will continue slowly through the year. And we are learning more about Dexcom's G7 approved in Europe and in front of the US FDA right now. Sensors will have a bit of a grace period. They'll keep working 12 hours after the 10 days are up. You'll also be able to silence the urgent low and sensor fail alarms for 6 hours. That's new. I'm talking to CTO Jake Leach for next week's long format show, and he has a lot of info to share. I asked as many of your questions as I could, so please come back for that one. New study results about the Islet, that is the insulin-only bionic pancreas from Beta Bionics. This is one of the many studies presented at ATTD. People in the study saw about a half a point come off their A1Cs after 13 weeks, no increase in hypoglycemia. They also saw more than 2.5 hours more time in range. The Islet is unique in that you only enter your weight and tell the pump system when you're eating. No basal rates, no need to enter carbs, no timeline for release, but the company says its regulatory submission is currently under FDA review. Amazon's online pharmacy PillPack has agreed to pay almost $6 million to resolve claims that it overcharged government health insurance programs by dispensing more insulin injector pens than patients needed. That's the headline, but editorial here. This story just shows a lot about what is wrong with our system. Many of us have had this happen. It used to be if you had a prescription for insulin pens, they would just give you the box of 5, even if the prescription was written for 3 or 4. Now they have to break open the box and count out the exact amount. That has probably happened to you if you use pens. It's not as though a patient was even overcharged here. That is not the focus of this lawsuit. This was about government health insurance programs. I get it. We're all paying for that in our taxes. There's got to be a better way. Maybe pass that copay cap or let Medicare negotiate prices or just cap the price overall. Then this issue and many others goes away. Walmart Health's telehealth company, MeMD, launched a virtual care diabetes program this past week. The initiative, known as the Walmart Health Virtual Care Diabetes Program, was developed for employers and payers as a standalone offering or as part of a comprehensive telehealth program. It is a partnership with the ADA and includes a consultation with a licensed medical provider to discuss patient history, eating habits, and more. Right back to the news in just a moment. But first, we have a new sponsor. As I mentioned, the T1D Exchange Registry is an online research study designed to harness the power of individuals with type 1. It is a research study conducted online over time, designed to foster innovation and improve the lives of people with T1D. Personal information remains confidential. Participation is fully voluntary. Once enrolled, you can complete annual surveys and have the chance to sign up for other studies. By sharing opinions, experiences, and data, patients can help advance meaningful T1 treatment, care, and policy. Please sign up at t1dexchange.org/Stacy. That is STACEY. An Australian company joins the diabetes conversation on your Alexa device. trying to say that quietly. Jade Diabetes says their My Jade skill can centralize logging, dose calculation, and dose management. It can also suggest dose changes within 3 hours. They say, quote, Jade is the only system to use accurate predictions to alert patients of future risks at a given time. It uses info from CGMs, connected glucose meters, digital pens, and data from Apple Health. Well, I don't know about you. I was really sad to hear that Healthline has decided to close down what I think has been one of the best sources of diabetes news and information, Diabetes Mine. It was started by Amy Tendrick after her diagnosis in 2003. It was acquired by Healthline in 2013. I've had her and managing editor Mike Hoskins on the show many times. Amy's other wonderful project, D-Data Exchange, will live on. These are the biannual D-Data forums, which connect experts, advocates, and innovators developing data platforms, apps, algorithms, and next-gen devices to take full advantage of data-driven diabetes care. And you may recall the term "we are not waiting," that hashtag was coined at the very first D-Data Exchange. It's really just a great place to be, virtually or in person. And the next one is coming up June 2nd. More info in the show notes. On this week's long format episode, you are going to hear about the Mental Health Plus Diabetes Conference. The organizers say every conference has one session on mental health, and they wanted more, so they did it. I love that. And next week, as I mentioned, Dexcom's chief technical officer will join me to talk about the G7, and he shares some interesting new information. I asked him all of your questions, everything from adhesive changes, direct to watch, and he brings up the G8. Listen wherever you get your podcasts. And that is in the news for this week. If you like it, please share it. Thank you so much for joining me, and I'll see you back here soon.